Welcome to another video podcast of Wayne's World and Kelly. Boy, do we have a special guest today that I'm going to give Kelly the pleasure of introducing. But at some point, I'm going to read literally 2 paragraphs of Susan's accomplishments that I can't wait to get to. So I'm going to give you a big heads up on that. Welcome to this show, Susan. Kelly, go ahead.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you so much.
I'm very excited. Wayne's excited. We're excited to have Susan. I met Susan probably last year at an event. And, there were several hundred people at the event. And you see this smile across the room. And I'm like, I'm going to meet that woman. I don't know who she is, but I want to meet her. Well, it turns out she was one of the big speakers of the event. So I'm away. Just as a side note, and this is all planned in my notes because I have notes. I don't have notes. A few years ago, I met the branding manager of Chipotle in the bathroom at an event. Now, Susan and I didn't meet in the bathroom because that would have been weird. But you just never know who you're going to meet. But I love stepping out and talking to people. And I saw her and wow. And we've become fast friends. I mean, it is just amazing connecting with people. And there's so many people that sit on the sidelines. And, sidelines, well, that's a sporting term that I just used. And Susan, I don't think, the only time you've been on the sidelines is when you're coaching. And so we're just excited to have you on the show. I'm in awe of people that just give it 100% all the time. I can't imagine what it's like to be around you all the time. Because whenever I'm around you, I just get this incredible, wonderful feeling. And it's just so much fun. Whenever we're in the same event together, which seems to happen a lot, it's like boom, we got to see each other. So I ran into you last week. I said I got to have you on the show. So we did. Wayne, do you want to go ahead and run the accomplishments off because it's fun?
Absolutely. So yeah, this is going to take a while. And I'm reading from my tablet here, so I got to get my eyes off the screen and go to another one. Susan Summon's 500th career win comes after a number of other awards and achievements that have been bestowed upon the former basketball pro, who also wears the hats of motivational speaker and radio personality. Paragraph 1. She is the recipient of the 2015 Babe Didrikson Zaharias Award, and in 2013 was listed among the 100 most influential sports educators in America by the Institute for International Sport. Paragraph 3. She was also recognized as one of South Florida's top 50 most powerful African-American professionals in business the same year and became a Hall of Famer when she was inducted into the National College Athletic Association Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. Now, on that note, Susan, I got to kick it over to you because you got a lot to cover. Go ahead. Wow.
Well, so when you were born, how did it feel?
Actually, someone told me, Kelly and Wayne, that, I had this beautiful baby picture and I had a smile on my face already as a baby. And they said, there's something about that smile. All babies are pretty when they're born, but there's something about that smile. You had a smile. It seemed like you had energy in your smile. Listen, it has been an amazing journey for me. And I have been very fortunate to meet great people like you.
Wow.
Kelly, Wayne, you mentioned on the front part of the show that our pathway crossed, and we just knew that we were connected, and we always seem to run into each other at an event. It's a lot of people, 100, 200 people, but we see each other through the crowd.
Right.
That's energy. That's, good energy. Yeah, good energy begets good energy. So for me, and what I've been fortunate to do as a coach, as a professor, as a radio personality, as a speaker, I'm former United States Army. A lot of people don't realize that, but I served in the United States Army, honorable discharge.
I knew that.
Early.
I knew that.
Yeah.
And we appreciate your service.
And so coaching is teaching, teaching is coaching, coaching is personality, is performing, motivating people. And so the NJCAA Hall of Fame is just a part of that process. If you put the work in and you're prepared to be successful, you can only anticipate good things that are going to happen and success is going to happen. So I've been on these podcast shows. I was telling Kelly at the event the other evening while we were posing to take a selfie. And he says, Susan, I got to have you on the show. He said, before you get busy, because it seems like you're getting busy. And I am getting busy. It has been immensely just a welcoming. It's what I do. It's a part of the vision. I love people. I love motivating people and inspiring them. And if I can do that for them and help them feel as though, hey, I can wake up today, I can go to work, I can go get that job, I feel good. Guess what? I'm going to go to that sales convention. And I'm not only going to get that sale, I'm going to be the #1 sales representative.
That's what we
Just
like.
from,
Yeah.
just from listening to me. Yeah. And
Put me in.
if I can do that, yeah, put me in, coach. If I can do that and I can coach salespeople, I could coach a team or a business to be successful and increase their sales and performance, then listen, I've been a factor. That's a part of the journey, and it's all a part of what's happening. I've got 3 podcast shows, and I was telling Kelly, I've got one at 10:15. I've got 2 tomorrow.
Wow.
It's and so I'm honored to be on the show with you and Kelly. And basketball. I was sharing a story with a colleague yesterday. I posted this. We all know. I know you're sports fans as well, so you've got to know and realize Bill Russell passed away yesterday.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what an icon. Bill Russell was one of my favorite coaches, TV personalities. Wow. Yeah.
And businessman. I mean, he took his career,
Yes.
and we see so many that have that career and they don't take it forward. He took it forward. And really, and he also did the motivational speaking, all that stuff. And why? Because he lived it. There's a very famous motivational speaker. I won't mention his name, but we've had conversations about it in the past, not off camera, that the guy never has done anything except for has been a very successful motivational speaker. I don't have a lot of respect for the guy. But when you take a Bill Russell or a Susan Summons or, even a Wayne, sure, you can't say his last name because there's so many consonants in a row. Wayne's work. These are people that have gone out there and have been successful, and then they share it with others. I have a problem with people that fake it. But Bill Russell, what an icon. I mean, and it's a celebration of life. It isn't a loss. It's a celebration of life. The guy was up there in age.
And that's what you made a tremendous point, a celebration of life, an icon. But here's something that I thought I wanted to share with the show and the audience and you and Wayne. I posted a salute to Bill Russell on my Facebook, on LinkedIn. And the reason I posted that is I'm from Boston. Okay, Beantown. Yep. Go park your car in Harvard Yard. I still have that Bostonian accent. And I grew up, as a little girl, part of the content in the post to salute Bill Russell was, right. I grew up in the Boston, and I watched those 11 NBA Boston Celtics championships. JoJo White, John Havlicek, Red Auerbach. I sat behind the bench while Red Auerbach sometimes would smoke a cigar.
Smoking cigars, right.
and I would watch those games as a little girl who really didn't have any female role models growing up. I had male professional athlete role models growing up. So as a little girl, I would watch Bill Russell, John Havlicek, some of the other great Celtics, Zach Sanders, who's one of my mentors in the Naismith Hall of Fame, Casey Jones.
Yeah, Casey Jones.
And as a little girl, I would say, when I watched the games, I would say to myself, I could do that. I could play that game. I could be good. I want to be a pro. And you know what I did? I posted this, and I said in my post, decades later, that's what I did. I became a women's pro player. I became a national coach of the year. I was drafted in the 3rd round of the first ever women's professional basketball league. I played pro ball and was coached by none other than the Boston Celtics great, Jim Luskatoff.
Wow.
I mean, that's history.
That's making it happen.
That's making it happen.
So, and we need inspirational. And here's a curveball for you. We see what's going on back in the day when we were young. And we had these iconic people and we inspired to be them. And then I've got a daughter who's 26, and I was watching her leagues and they started shoveling out trophies to everybody. All the kids are great. I went to a softball tournament for one of my friends, the great Kuhn family, if y'all are watching up in Ohio. 5 amazing, athletic, brilliant children that are now becoming adults. They never, I was shocked. They were just incredible athletes. The twins that are the youngest, I gotta send you a video of these girls playing. Amazing. But I was at one of their games. They came into Virginia and I was watching their game, and I'm yelling. And they're like, Kelly, you can't do that. I'm like, what? Oh no. They'll take a run away from us if you yell during the game. And I wasn't yelling negative things. You know, I might have told the pitcher that she was a belly itcher. I can't remember what it was, but it was something, you know. You remember that, Wayne? Pitcher, not a belly itcher. Anyway.
Yeah, I was a pitcher. I do remember that.
So you feel like he's the scratchy, he's like this. Anyway, do you see a problem in coaching now where these kids, well, I don't want to play, or I think they're mean. When I was playing,
Well,
all I wanted to do was get in and play, and I would never disrespect my coach or push back or anything. How do you feel about all that's going on now?
Well, it's, that's an interesting point, Kelly. Softball games, baseball games, basketball, even soccer games. I mean, we know at these games, and as a former member of the Institute for International Sports on Sportsmanship and a national sportsmanship chair, we see a lot of competition at these games, even with the younger kids, and how the parents infuse and integrate in the game, and they end up wanting to coach the game, or they end up creating.
So
what
true.
What kind of play was that? Why did you bat? Let her up to bat, And what happens is and then you have the other parent sitting on the other side, maybe in another bleacher, yelling at the other parent, and consequently, you end up having and creating a situation that creates some conflict and confrontation.
Well,
and sportsmanship, as you know.
I get that, and I
Yes.
don't believe in bad behavior by parents. I'm saying you're not allowed to cheer, and then you got these kids that just they're not playing the way we played. Now it's attitude and pushback, and it seems like it's
and they're not playing fair.
Yeah,
it is different. We're dealing with a Generation Z.
Yeah.
In the sports world, and also in the education world.
What is that? But
yeah, that's actually my son's Generation Z, to your point. Yep.
Generation Z, and they have a different mindset, like you indicated. They're at these games, they're at competition, whether it's the middle school level, high school level, or college level. You're seeing the same parallel across all sports levels, Kelly
Right.
and Wayne, where the player themselves are they playing fair? Are they, what are they yelling? How are they cheering? And what are they saying when they cheer? And you're seeing that across the board. And that, that's coming out of the element of competition. That's also coming out of the element, perhaps, of not enforcing the art and principle of good sportsmanship.
right.
Yep.
And also
as
winning,
they should.
Winners
Now,
and losers. But you got to have winners and losers. That's how we learned it. You aspired to win, to get in the game and win and be great. You didn't aspire to show up and get a trophy. And it seems like now, I mean, I'm the recruiting manager for LGC, one of our sponsors of today's show.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the people we're recruiting are great, but the people that I don't recruit are people that just like going, what are you going to give me? And I don't see anything coming from them. And they want the big title. They want all this stuff. They want the huge salaries. They haven't even shown up to do any work, Now I find some of the more mature people I've got coming in with experience. They're like, what can we do to make, LGC better? I want to be part of your team. I want to do that. I love that, but I'm not saying that the younger people that we're hiring aren't that way. but the younger ones that I'm not hiring are that way. And that concerns me because I see that pool of people all the time. And I know that, like you've made your life, college is life, and life, not college, but sports. And there's such a marriage in there. But I see, because things are changing, how's that going to affect our people down the road, or even today?
Well, one of the points that you mentioned that I think is very relevant, and I think it's also an educational point, it could certainly help most programs. And you see this at the college ranks, and you saw them integrate it even more, is actually put in place a policy that directly relates to sportsmanship and sportsmanship conduct, not only on the part of the athlete, but on the part of the spectators. And so at games, at college games, they actually have to read this out loud. They have to read it out loud repetitively. So everyone in the audience, in the field, in the gym actually hears it and maybe comprehends and understands. The second component is, the people that you're hiring are young people that are getting hired. Perhaps they're not exposed to sportsmanship principles.
Right.
And you have to go ahead and include that in your training so that they are educated and they are informed, and then they themselves can be sportsmanship heroes or sportsmanship mentors.
Right. Sure.
And they help change that atmosphere. And those are strategies. I was talking to one of my colleagues, Miami Lake Sports Shop, who's one of our sponsors today.
They are.
Yeah.
Good shout out.
I have to give a shout out to Miami Lake Sports Shop, Jim Hamilton, up there in Miami Lakes Boulevard, Main Street. They do a great job, and they run a huge little league softball program and soccer program. And they talk about this very issue, sportsmanship, Kelly and Wayne.
Nice.
How do we get more of it? How do we get kids to understand, to play fair and be fair, and say there's a winner and loser,
Right?
but you still have to be able to be good sportsmanship.
Hey, Susan, I got something that I think everybody needs to be aware of. So I did read this when I introduced you, as far as being the recipient of the 2015 Babe Didrikson-Zaharis Award. I don't even know if a lot of people even know who Babe Didrikson-Zaharis is, but I do, and I'm going to read this. I've been aware of her presence in the sports world for my entire life. So she was an American athlete who excelled in golf, basketball, baseball, and track and field. She won 2 gold medals in track and field at the 1932 Summer Olympics before turning to professional golf and winning 10 LPGA major championships. That's the female version right there of Jim Thorpe.
Thorpe.
Right? You as the recipient of this award, I want everybody that is watching this to really understand what a monumental achievement of the recipient when you got this award. My God, I mean, tell me what this meant to you and means to you. This is big. This is huge. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, Wayne, I appreciate that, but I appreciate even more sharing with the audience who Babe Dickerson-Zaharis was.
Yep.
We're in the 50th anniversary of Title IX.
Yep.
Very relevant time. And Babe Dickerson-Zaharis, the Babe,
Yep.
was a phenomenal multi-sport female athlete in an era of history, in the history of sports. She is the female version of Jim Thorpe. I was a huge Jim Thorpe fan growing up as a kid. I watched him throw the javelin.
You bet.
I mean, history. But Babe, when I was a college student at Lamar University in Beaumont, Texas, I was a cowgirl. I had my cowboy hat. I had my cowboy hat on. I had my cowboy boots. They call them the nose pickers. A lot of people don't know that side of me or that story of me, but I've been in a lot of journeys, and I consider myself a multi-sport or multicultural lady.
Yep.
But I was a cowgirl living in Texas on a scholarship, playing basketball on the track team. I won in college the Babe Dickerson-Zaharis Outstanding Scholar Athlete Award, and my portrait was bronze plated in the famous Babe Dickerson Sahari's Museum, still standing in the museum in Beaumont, Texas.
Wow.
Wow.
If anyone is in Texas and Beaumont or Port Arthur and you're driving through, you know, they get tourists all the time going to the Babe Museum. Just go in, look to the left. My portrait is up there. I received a gold medal, a portrait, bronze plated, and a full scholarship. And that was the very next year I was drafted in the Women's Pro League. Then in 2015, the
Full
Miami-Dade County, full circle. This is the Miami-Dade County Dade Society of Women in Miami-Dade County, who hosted the Babe Dickerson Saharius Award, nominated me. I was selected to receive the Babe Dickerson Miami-Dade County Society Award as a women's coach who was dedicated to service. And so to be a part of that and to know that I'm in the company of an incredible historian.
For sure.
Who changed the cycle of women's sports.
Forever.
And I'm honored and forever, and I'm humbled.
You bet.
And I'm honored. I don't talk much about and reference that credential or that award. But yeah, it is there. It's a part of my background, just like being a United States Army discharge and having service in my background. And so I've always envisioned, even as a kid, being able to help change the world, change your life, one person at a time. And I can remember thinking that even when I was in the Boston Garden.
Yep.
I can remember thinking that even when I was at Lamar University.
I love it.
You know, even when I was on the track at Lamar running track, helping to lead them to the Southeastern Track Championship, I was thinking, I want to be somebody. I was thinking when I was in the Boston Garden, watching Bill Russell, watching Satch Sanders as a little girl. I was 10 years old. I said, I want to be somebody. I am going to be somebody. I'm going to be someone amazing, and I'm going to change the world, and I'm going to talk to a lot of people all around the country. That was my mindset. That was my vision. That was my dream. I didn't know how I was going to do it at the time. I didn't inspire to be a professional basketball player. I really inspired to be a dancer. I was a dancer. I wanted to be an entertainer. I wanted to perform. You know, I was in modern dance classes, ballet, tap. I was in dance company.
Did you do line dancing? Did you do
I love dancing. I used to watch Jack Kelly, Fred Astaire, all of the great dancers and swingers. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to be in movies. I wanted to, you know, be in commercials, and that's what I wanted to do. But my journey took a different path at that time, and I became this multi-sport athlete, and I actually qualified for the national Jesse Owens track meets.
Wow.
As a national high jumper and a relay runner for the 100-yard dash in the relay team. I would have never gone into basketball. I was going to headed into the track national, but Satch Sanders of the Boston Celtics and Don Nelson. Don Nelson.
You bet.
Bucks, yes.
Milwaukee Bucks, yep.
And Tom Satch Sanders was recruiting kids in my neighborhood in Roxbury, very poor neighborhood. And they said, we heard about you. We've got a scholarship. We want you to come to our basketball camp. And I said, I qualified for the national Jesse Owens track meets. And they said, that's huge, but we've got this scholarship. And I had to make a decision. So I thought, I'm going to go to Satch Sanders, the Boston Celtics basketball camp. And I did that. And I won every award, rebounding, steals, assists, scoring. A little girl could win at a basketball camp. I was beating the boys.
You bet.
And I knew then that there was something special, and the rest is history.
That's fun. That's fun. And we're almost out of time. This is killing me. So first of all, Rock and Wellness is also another one of our sponsors today. Speaking of commercials, a couple things I want to hit. First of all your accomplishments, when we're unscripted, I wanted to bring up your Babe Award because I too am a huge fan of hers. Wayne just took all the thunder away from that, but I love the way he did it. I love the way you responded. That really is huge. I'm a terrible golfer, but I was inspired by her story when I was a little kid, and then I followed her with all of her different sports. There's so many amazing human beings, and I wish our schools would focus on teaching us more about that than some of the stuff that they got going out there now. But and we touched on 1% of the great examples. There's so many of them. There was a guy, Jesus, that was here 2,000 years ago, absolutely huge inspiration to all of us. And then all the blessings he's given us for the last 2,000 years. I know you're a big believer. I know that's been a big driving force in your life too. I didn't want to miss out on that for all the agnostic and people that listen. And speaking of agnostics, I wonder how the New Yorkers are going to feel about all this wonderful talk about Boston. I'm sure they're trying to show all the rings that they've collected in New York and going, well, if she would have grown up in New York, she would have been that much better. Look at that. Look at that. I love it.
Nice. Very nice.
I love it. I got nothing. I got this though.
Well,
so obviously we're going to have you come back at some certain point because we just didn't get to cover enough stuff. But I tell you what, every time it's electrifying. I knew we would have a blast. You're such a blessing to South Florida. We're sharing you with the country. You've just gotten started, and just we really appreciate you coming on. Wayne, I'll let you take it out. And well, first of all, Susan, is there anything else you'd like to say?
Yep, Susan.
I just wanted to say, thank you to you, Kelly, Wayne, the audience that's listening. And, everything I've ever done, I've put God first. And there's a lot of blessings there. And I'm just a part of the process. My job is to help people, motivate them, inspire them to be great, to believe in themselves. And that's what I do.
And you do it very well.
People. I love people, and it doesn't matter who they are because there's a gift. I have a gift. My job is to share that gift. I'm honored to be on the show with you and Wayne. It has been amazing. And listen, let's just keep rocking and rolling. And I have to give a shout out to my sponsors, the sponsors, Miami Lake Sports Shop,
You bet.
Best Western Kendall Plus, Jim Hamilton, Kathy Otero. And guess what? Look at that. Look at that.
I love it.
You gotta do it. And he's the one upstairs. Somebody upstairs, 2,000 feet up, I don't know, probably 37,000 feet up in the air, in those clouds that hover over us sometimes, rains on us, wind on us, hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis. It keeps me. And the one thing about national disasters don't care who you are. They don't care what your race is. They don't care what your culture is. They don't care what your language is. They just come in and sweep you. And I believe we have to embrace each other more. We have to love each other. We have to respect each other. We have to care about each other. We have to be a better humanity.
Absolutely.
In this world.
Well said. Well
yeah,
said.
I actually, I'm not even going to interject on anything that you said, Susan, other than the fact that Kelly and I would absolutely at some future date love to have you on and talk about the other 99% of the things that we would love to talk with you about. Thank you for you being you and sharing your gifts and your best version of yourself to the world, because we need more people like you by far. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Hero.
Wonderful.